morning, welcome to CATEX-TV. My name is Frank Fortunato. This is a live broadcast from Princeton, New Jersey. Today is Wednesday, 11:30 a.m., June 16th, 2010. It's 11:30 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time, 4:30 p.m. in London, and in Mexico City, it's 10:30 a.m. If you need to reach us during the broadcast, you can phone in toll-free at 1-866-67-CATEX. Overseas, our AOL instant mail address is CATEX-TV. We have some breaking news that just came in before we walked into the studio. It concerns the status of the FSA in London. We had talked about this yesterday, indicating that the results of the coalition government's plans were going to be released today. It's 4:30 p.m. over there. This evening, Chancellor of the Exchequer, George Osborne, is going to give a speech down at Mansion House about it. But some of the details came out today in Parliament in response to questions by the shadow Chancellor of the Exchequer, who, of course, is none other than the former Chancellor of the Exchequer, Alistair Darling. George Osborne, the current Chancellor, confirmed that he will give the Bank of England the key role in regulating the UK financial sector. In his speech, he said the current system of financial regulation had failed spectacularly. He has said that the existing regulatory system led by the FSA will be dismantled. He confirmed the plans in answer to a question from Alistair Darling. He said, on the structure of regulation, our plan is to hand over to the Bank of England responsibility for macro-prudential supervision that should never have been taken away from it. A correspondent at the BBC has reported the part that's supposed to prevent banks taking dangerous gambles, which regulates and supervises them, will become a subsidiary or arm of the Bank of England. The word insurance has not been mentioned yet. Presumably in the speech that's going to occur in 2 hours or so at Mansion House, it will be. We'll keep our eyes on that. To the first story. A lot of shaking, rattling, and rolling in Indonesia. Let's bring this map up. This is really something. You see this is earthquake activity. The bright red to the right there, a little bit north of New Guinea, northwest of New Guinea, is a 5.5. The three blues directly over New Guinea are 6s and 7s. And all the way to the left, you see the red indicating within the last hour. That's off the coast of Malay. That's a 5 superimposed upon a 7.5. 3 quakes in Papua Province, one near the Solomon Islands. They struck within about 45 minutes of each other. A tsunami warning was issued, but it's since been canceled. There have been no immediate reports of casualties. In fact, we haven't heard too terribly much from there, so we don't know exactly what's going on. We know what's happening in southern France. This is a big surprise. 15 people died in southern France, and several more are still missing. This is after torrential rains triggered flash floods. Rescuers scrambled overnight to help hundreds of people trapped in their cars. This is occurring in the Draguignan area near the Mediterranean coast. The death toll has climbed steadily since early this morning. Rescuers keep finding more bodies. About 2,000 firefighters, soldiers, police officers, and 11 helicopters have been mobilized. They're responding to about 1,500 calls for help. And in Singapore, flash floods struck the central part of the city this morning, wreaking havoc on traffic and businesses right on the city's main shopping belt of Orchard Road. This was after an unusually heavy downpour. The Orchard Road area plays host to many top retail companies. It was among the worst hit, with large stretches of the road submerged in nearly half a meter of water. Several videos posted on YouTube show pedestrians and vehicles stranded in muddy, flooding waters, while others reveal flooding on shop floors at several posh Orchard Road malls, including the Liat Towers, which is known to many international travelers. In the U.S., some bad economic news. Housing starts declined to 593,000 in the month of May. This is after the expiration of an American government tax incentive had boosted construction and sales in the previous months. The starts fell 10%, down to 593. Building permits also declined to a one-year low. Single-family home starts suffered the biggest drop since 1991. However, the starts were still up about 8% from the same month last year, and permits are still up about 4.5% from the same month last year. Well, the first story back after the break will be the president's speech last night and his meetings with the BP executives, which are scheduled for just an hour or so from now. But before we go into that, let's at least set the ground rules. Scientists have now provided a new estimate for the amount of oil coming from that ruptured well. They're saying that it could be leaking about 2.5 million gallons of crude oil a day. This would be the government's worst case estimates, and it brings them in line with what an independent team had previously thought to be the maximum size of the spill. The reason for the bump up mainly comes from scientists' belief now that a kinked pipe down on the ocean floor that was cut by the undersea robots when they put that new cap on was a little bit like a garden hose that had been kinked, reducing the water flow. Once that pipe was unkinked, boom, increased the flow by about 20%. So whatever the cap was catching a flow that had been bumped up by 20%. So you'd have to subtract what the pump is, what the top is catching from the newly increased total. Not a good situation. Stock market is down about 18 points right now. We'll go to a word from our sponsors and come back with the BP news. Just watching a clip on TV of the British petroleum executives going into the White House, Tony Hayward and Karl Heinrich Svanberg, who could be the most unfortunate man in the world right now, having left Ericsson Electric after bringing that company back and then taking the chairman role at BP just 6 months ago. Anyway, last night the president got his moment in the Oval Office. He vowed to an angry nation on his terms that he was going to get the BP oil company to pay for the damage that they've caused. He described the massive oil spill in the Gulf of Mexico as a siege on the shores of America. This is going to be the president's first encounter with the BP executives since one of the oil wells in Louisiana, off the Louisiana coast, blew up 60 days ago, killing 11 workers. The president is going to be behind closed doors with them,